Welcome to another Adventures Through History. Today, we're going to take a trip to one of the most famous houses in the entire United States, and that's the White House. And it's more than just a big White House, it's actually where the President of the United States lives and works. Now, it's kind of crazy to think about. George Washington, our very first president, never actually lived in the White House. He helped choose the location, he even picked the design, but his second term as president ended before it was actually finished. And sadly, he never even got to see it completed. He passed away shortly before it was ready for the president to move in. Construction began in 1792 and it took 8 years to build. Sandstone was used for most of the walls, and the majority of the labor was done by free workers and enslaved people. It was designed in a neoclassical style, which means it looked like a fancy building from ancient Rome or Greece. In 1800, our second president got to be the first one to move into the White House. John Adams and his wife Abigail moved into a house that was barely finished. There were no stairs between the floors yet. Many rooms were cold and empty. And because electricity in houses wasn't a thing yet, they had to use candles for light. Abigail even hung laundry in the East Room because it was a safe, large room to dry their clothes. Slowly, the house was completed over the years, and presidents and their families enjoyed their time there. Then disaster came. In 1814, during the War of 1812, British troops set fire to the White House, and much of the inside was destroyed, but the stone walls survived. When it was rebuilt, they painted it white to cover the smoke stains, and that's when people started calling it the White House. Now, the original White House was actually a much smaller building. Over the years, the White House grew. In 1902, Theodore Roosevelt added the whole West Wing, and that's where the Oval Office is today. But sadly, not enough maintenance was done on the White House, and in 1948, it was in such bad shape, President Truman had to actually move out for a few years while the inside was completely rebuilt with steel to keep it standing strong. So let's talk about the White House and everything that it includes today. There are actually 132 rooms, 35 bathrooms, 412 doors, 147 windows, 8 staircases, 28 fireplaces, and 3 elevators. There is a movie theater, a flower shop, a doctor's office, a tennis court, a basketball court, and even a bowling alley. It's kind of crazy to think about people living in a building that is the centerpiece of the executive branch of our government, but they do. Abraham Lincoln lived there during the Civil War. Franklin Delano Roosevelt gave famous radio talks from his office. John F. Kennedy's daughter had a pony named Macaroni out on the lawn. Michelle Obama even planted a garden to promote healthy eating. It's not just a government building, it's where the daily life of the families that live there happen. There are special rooms for different events. You have the Blue Room, and it's used for receiving guests and houses the official White House Christmas tree every year. The green room is one of 3 parlor rooms in the White House. Thomas Jefferson actually used it as a dining room. He preferred round tables. He felt like that helped with conversation, and it also made sure people were not seated by rank. The red room is cozy and elegant, and it's for meetings. President Rutherford B. Hayes actually took the presidential oath of office here in 1877. The East Room was originally called the Public Audience Room, and it's one of the largest rooms, but it doesn't have a lot of furniture, so it can hold larger events like press conferences and weddings. 7 of the 8 presidents who died while they were in office had public viewings in this room before their funerals. The 7 included Abraham Lincoln, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and John F. Kennedy. There's also the State Dining Room, and that's where presidents host fancy dinners for visitors from around the world. Beautiful entrance hall was the original main entrance to the White House. Thomas Jefferson displayed artifacts from the Lewis and Clark expedition here. Andrew Jackson invited people to help eat the 1,400 pounds of cheese that was sent as a gift from New York. And today it's most often used for music and dancing. As part of that music, the U.S. Marine Band often plays the 1938 Steinway piano here. The president works in the famous Oval Office, and the Rose Garden is just outside. That's where he gives speeches and greets visitors, and there's lots of photos taken. Every year, the White House hosts national traditions like the Easter egg roll, the Thanksgiving turkey pardon, and the lighting of the national Christmas tree. People come from around the world to visit. Wars, celebrations, speeches, and important decisions, the White House has been home to every U.S. president except George Washington. It has been burned, rebuilt, expanded, and modernized. But it is still the people's house. The White House is a symbol of America. It stands for leadership, freedom, and history. So next time you see the White House in a video or in a photo, you'll know it's more than just a building. It's where history lives. Thanks for joining us today. Hopefully, you learned a little something. Please like and subscribe and join us for another Adventures Through History.